What's up, guys? Eric here from EBM Productions, and I just need to be honest ahead of time. My sleeping pill is hitting me like a freaking train, so I'm not gonna talk like normal completely. However, I'm gonna get this video done real quick. So, guys, this one comment just popped up, and it's on the video of Brian Shaw's grip strength that they just tested at 300 pounds around there, something crazy. Let's say average 300 to 340 pounds. So I commented that I wish one day I could get one of these big guys to grab my wrists full force. Well, first we had to test if I can take it, because obviously that's a lot of force. But regardless, I do assume that I can take that. It does feel uncomfortable, but that's uncomfort. It's not world-breaking weight and pain and stuff like that. It's nothing too crazy. It's not me surviving through kidney stones and going to work, like passing kidney stones and going to work pain. I can do that, then I can do this. But anyway, I said I want to test a certain self-defense technique that I have. Well, actually more so it's a combat sports one, but I didn't want to get into the whole argument of big versus small and all that stuff, so I tried to word it differently. But obviously every gym bro who sees Brian Shaw, the world's strongest man's grip strength and stuff like that, has to bring it to that, has to relate that. Big man means he can automatically fight. Meanwhile, he trained MMA. He himself said, no, I can't. He did, however, admit that if he does grab anybody smaller than him that can fight and he puts them down hard into the concrete, then yes. But then he also admitted that it's quite hard to get a hold of these people anyway, so it probably won't happen. It was his own words. Same thing happened with Eddie. Same thing has happened with Hartford Bjornsson and Mitchell Hooper, the current world's strongest man. So I hate it when gym bros who don't compete at that level talk for these big people that do compete at that level, because these big people would have told us, "Oh, when I trained, it was easy. I don't think I'm going to kind of. I don't think these guys know what they're talking about and stuff." No, they always said, "Holy cow, I kind of learned a lot here." Now, what the argument and why this video was a thing, or is a thing, sorry, because the pole is hitting like a tank, is I just commented that I would love to test one of my techniques on how I usually get away from wrist grabs from very large people. It was below another comment, because the original comment was just somebody saying it's impossible to get out of Brian Shaw's grip when he grabs you, and which is understandable for an average person. I don't see one average person squirming away or getting away from him grabbing you. But any trained athlete that has a few tricks up his sleeve, like me, has a chance. It's not a foretold conclusion, a foregone conclusion, but there is a bigger chance. So, what I mean is that there's a certain technique that I have used with people up to 285 pounds. That's 130 kilograms, guys, for the other guys watching. I'm a small guy, and these big guys have grabbed my wrist before. Full force, obviously, because it was a hard roll. The same person told me afterwards he prefers rolling with me because I can actually take his rolling pressure, and also I can I don't get my ego in the way. It's one of the things he liked. I don't get my ego in the way there. Even when we're going hard, he could sense I'm not going all out, and he sensed that even when he pushes for a while, I could tell he pushes for a while and he pushes on the brakes. He has a good flow, and that's why I told him as well. Listen, let's do this, because I learn better when we're in a high pressure environment, but not so high pressured like I'm going to die, because I've been in that kind of zone, and it's not productive, because then you can test a few of your techniques, etc. Like in jiu-jitsu or grappling in total, you want slow, flowy kind of rolling to experiment, and then you want a decent level of intensity. Now, that does change person to person. I prefer quite intense. Like, I remember a friend of mine, he worked at the same gym as me in 2021, and me and our manager, which at that point had a big interest in fight arts. He later on became a world champion, so shout out to him. He knows, if he watches this video, he will instantly know what I'm talking about. But back then, we were just doing boxing. And we were sparring, and this other friend of ours, he was the personal trainer at that point, he comments, he's like, you guys are going hard. And we're like, no, we're not. And this same person that became a champion later on in jiu-jitsu, he understood that it might be harder than we both have went with everybody else there, but this is the intensity that me and him really like, because then we're playing the chess game and we're in our heads, and it's still intense enough to learn. Like, you get used to the intensity, you learn something, and it does not distract you because it's too easy. So that's what I meant there. And the thing is, it's there with that big 285-pound guy, well, 286 if you want to round it up, but you get what I mean. That's where I got a lot of confidence in a trick that I learned, which I carried throughout my years since I was young. Now, the reason why I think I remembered it is because I used to wrestle with much larger guys. And when I got back into grappling and stuff, it's like my muscle reflex, what do you call it? Muscle memory. Sorry guys, I'm very tired. The muscle memory kicked in to the full. And I just perfected it a tiny bit because I was obviously rusty, but yeah. Now, in the same comment section where I said I want to try this, and I'm used to pretty much big dudes, but I didn't put that in on the original comment. Some oak, obviously, it's big and trains with weights, has to bring up the stupid argument of, I'm big, I most likely can beat everybody. Meanwhile, that's not how it works. Mitchell Hooper just mentioned it in the video regarding the Jeff Nippert situation. Yeah, so that's not how it works. And he said, I wonder, let me go check real quick. He said that this a training drill or whatever, what I want to impose, because I told him I want to do a drill where I can test if I can get out, because if I can show others that my tiny body can get away from a guy that's strong and big, then the average person can get away from another larger average person who grabs their wrists. See, somebody else here mentioning something there. Okay. Oh no, this guy even spelled Brian wrong. He spelled brain. He can easily break bones. And my reply to him was, because it seemed like he said, fighting, MMA fighting, pro fighting, is not real. It's not the same as on the street. Something along those lines is what he said. Now, guys, that's when I have to come in. Like, you can hate on my technique, which we have to use versus other grapplers, because the idea with the wrist grabs, it's really a thing. You need to stay away from somebody wrist grabbing you, and then you really, really need to never let them grab your wrists, because if they grab your wrists, they can control you, especially if they know a few other tricks. Just need to find this comment real quick, guys. Then I can read you the comment, my reply in my drunken state right now. And I'll reply to this guy further tomorrow, because it doesn't matter. What he says further doesn't matter. Like him saying Brian can break bones just by grabbing someone. No, that's not how this works. He said, real fights are not the same. Brian is beating most men in a real fight. Now, I didn't see that one there. It didn't pop up on my side. But I told him, what? That's quite wrong, because... Okay, I just want to do this. Can I go down here? Okay, I said, it's arguably wrong, in the sense of that he's saying, essentially, this is not a real fight if you're doing a drill with somebody big and testing something. Yes, it isn't. However, drilling is... Okay, that's what I said secondly. Drilling is how you learn how to fight. It's how you get used to being in a fight, etc. So I told him, arguably wrong. I did see somebody say something along the lines of, no, UFC isn't real fights here as well. And I was just like, nah, I'm not going to reply to that. That's just stupidity. A pro fight, even we watch as fans, is still a fight. Those guys, in fact, go a bit harder than people go on the streets. On the streets, somebody tries a bit and they get tired and then, yeah, they get broken up. If nobody gets broken up, they beat each other, but they never have the same kind of damage on each other. They don't leave the same kind of damage where it's life-altering damage in the end. And I told them, practice is what we do to get used to fights. I've defended myself versus bigger guys than the guy I sparred with, a 300-pounder plus. I had to defend myself against this person, and he had a weapon with him. He had a Glock. But how I defended myself against him was via all the stuff I learned in MMA and boxing. He was busy trying to go for his gun. I didn't know about the gun, by the way, guys. I just defended myself. And at that point, I was neutralizing the target, so to speak. Because the idea in my mind is knock this person out as fast as possible so they can't do anything. Then check if there's guns and stuff, get them out of the premises, and be safe and get everybody involved outside of this person safely out of there. Because this person already is hurt, so you just take him out, essentially, to go to the hospital. And yeah, I got told afterwards that this guy had the gun on him, but how I was hitting him, body, head, meant every time I landed up top, he needed to defend up top. And every time I landed to the body, he had to go down. So it was just me mixing it up. I was calm and collected. I just went through what we used to train. I love going through the whole body. Like in MMA, it's even better. You can kick the calf, you can kick the knee. I love knee stomps. On certain opponents, that's when you get mean. You do knee stomps that can destroy the knee. In the street, that would be free game. And there's a lot more that we are not allowed to do in MMA. And this is what this guy's not clicking. So I just told him that we go through hard sparring, which usually is a worse version of your fight. You never do hard sparring where it's more lax than the fight you're going to be in. You never do certain drills, because there's hard drilling even. You don't do these drills without it being the worst case scenario that you can imagine. It's why many trained fighters do well in self-defense situations. Shout out to Natan Levy, who became the Ultimate Defense Championship winner in the end because of the same situation. He is a very good fighter, and then on top, he drilled this stuff for years, his entire life, and it showed. It was very good how he handled many of the physical confrontations there. I hope in the next season they bring this topic up of very big men attacking smaller guys so that it can bring in a new dynamic. But yeah, point is, law of probability tells you that if somebody knows a trick that has worked, even up to 280 pounds, it might work with somebody that's 400 pounds. And it would be an interesting test. And it doesn't even need to be me. Let Gordon Ryan do that test. Let him show the can opener for your wrist when such a monster grabs you. Or even somebody smaller than him. I don't know, who's a medium size? A medium size would be a middleweight or welterweight in the UFC. We need somebody in that range that does this at a decent level on YouTube to invite the strong men and say, hey, let's roll or do this just so that we can teach people or the street this. And my idea is just to help people. So this guy coming at me, I don't care if he takes it negatively, but he needs to understand the point out behind this is to help others. And I'm fairly confident, I'd say 80% confident that I would get out of his grip. Although it would hurt. But there's a few tricks to this that you would need to employ. Now, however, for this indirect test, I would be like, here's my wrists, let's go, let's see. Which is the hardest version. The easier version is much more easier is when you're in motion. If you're in motion, like just before you guys just touch hands, just before you spar / do a grappling roll, that's the time where it would be much easier, because then you would just get your hands away. You would just let him get a unusual grip. Let's say he tries to grip you like this, but he grips you like this, where you can't really close his hands fully over your hand when he was actually going for your wrist, or grabbing like this in a way where you can slip out. That is the key. And that's why most grapplers, we are taught not to give up our wrists. I, in fact, can't remember last time somebody grabbed my wrist and kept it. I'm one of the guys that try to cement somebody's wrist. Singular wrist is really easy to manipulate the body from there. But anyway, guys, I disagree with this guy, and I hope we see something like this in the future. My buddy is coming here from overseas. Maybe we can do a video. We just need a grip tester first, because we need to see if he's in the ball game of some elites, and then yeah, we can take it from there. Because I'm pretty sure he's running around now at a fit, because he's a rugby player, at a fit 125 kilograms. That's 246 to 260 pounds, if you guys are wondering. And he's 6'3". He's a big freaking man. Can't believe me and him sparred way back, but he put on so much more muscle. But anyway, if he comes, then, well, I have another friend that's just as big as him, but yeah, I can use this and say, hey, we can do this where we just try to get away from your wrist grab. Let's test this. Now, I'm not going to share the technique, unfortunately. Let me say it like this. I'll share it with women and people that I know. Any person that I personally meet that I feel would benefit from it, I'll teach. But I'm not going to really show what I do to YouTube, etc. Because then a lot of guys is just going to run with it and try and appropriate it. When I grew up using this, because I was always used to big guys wrestling with me, going for the wrists usually first. And yeah. So yeah, drunken, sleepy me says out. Do you guys agree that Brian Shaw okay, are you guys on the side of Brian Shaw? If he grabs your wrists, bloodlusted, and he wants to grab you, do you guys agree he breaks bones and you can't get away if he doesn't? Or do you agree that many amateurs up to the highest level of professionals have techniques that they drill often to get away from something like that, even though the strength there is exceptionally exceptional? Not just exceptional, it's the top of the heap. Do you guys agree that they would get out? Obviously dependent on weight. I do say that. That's why my small frame would be a perfect example, because then we can maybe make a ratio, a guesstimate ratio. I'll make a video about that afterwards, where we do a guesstimate ratio and we calculate it. Could I then maybe get out of it? Because that's just for fun. This is all just for fun. Comments like these, I don't take them that personally, but I think this guy's going to be mad that I told him, nah, arguably he's wrong. And his second one, he wouldn't be like, he would break bones if he didn't take offense. But if you are watching, wait, what's his name? Old Paul, if you are watching, don't take this offensively. As you can see, I drank a sleeping pill before I saw your reply, and this is more out of the interest benefit to the public, because if a girl learns this technique, either from me later or in person here, and one night she calls me, thank you, I got away from this guy, he was going to do weird things with me, he tackled me, he tried to grab my wrists, I got out. If she tells me I got away, I'd be happy, because then I did my part for the community, for everybody. But if it doesn't work, I'm glad to tell you guys, you don't always use just your hands, because the trick I'm talking about is just your hands. You don't always use just these two to defend yourself from somebody wrist grabbing, and that can be the next part of it. Yeah, you have to think expansively, and I'd be dead honest with you guys. I know how to use my body to a reasonable degree, to amateur level degree, but I know I'm like a blind person compared to some of these jiu-jitsu oaks. even at the middle range competing. So yeah, again, shout out to that person I know, that acquaintance of mine, that's a world champion BJJ grappler right now, because he understands what I'm trying to say. He would tell you, yeah, Eric, you don't know 1% of what there is to know, because he's a black belt. And yeah, there's a different level of respect you have to have for the amount of nuanced techniques there is left. So yeah, guys, I just needed to make this video, even if it's at 11 at night. I'm off to bed. I'll post some more videos soon. This is all going to be combat based. Tomorrow I'm probably going to do the prediction video, and soon I'll post a big video explaining why I went black for 2 or so days. Well, sorry, 6-7 days. And I have to share some bad news that ended up happening last Wednesday. So yeah, guys, cheers. Tell me if you guys agree, and tell me if you guys don't.